Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Christopher Hall Show here on the Neil Haley Network. I'm excited to welcome to the program Dr. Christopher Hall. Dr. Hall, how are you? Thank you for your service. And I know you love to talk to athletes who give back, right? For sure.
Awesome. I certainly do, and I'm so excited about the guest that we have today. He's so inspiring, and so wow, I'm just very excited.
All right. So I know for a fact when you talk about foundations, that's the perfect type of guest because you get to hear his story, how he was able to make it to the big time, but then give back. So go ahead and introduce our guest.
Well, no problem. Well, I'm very excited, and I'm honored to introduce an individual who was a Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ, an individual who's been very inspiring for young people, and so I'd like to welcome to the show former professional football NFL champion Antoine Bethea. Welcome to the show, Antoine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's just jump to it right off the bat. How have you been dealing with, COVID-19 and everything, and just I guess the whole lockdown to now things might be getting a little bit semblance of better. What is tell your fans what's been happening with you?
Man, it's I think for everybody, it's been tough just with the transition and just being on lockdown. But being at the house, I have three kids at the house, and just really just trying to stay out the way, man. Stay out the way, stay healthy, and keep myself busy.
All right, Dr. Hall, question for Antoine. Okay,
Awesome, no problem. All right, and now let me make sure I got that name correct. Now, Antoine, right? Is that correct? First name is correct.
Yes, Antoine. Yep.
All right, that's right. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. All right. So now, Antoine, tell me a little bit about kind of where you're from, and where you grew up.
So I was born in Savannah, Georgia. My dad was in the military, but my dad ended up getting stationed in Newport News, Virginia, and that's where I grew up at. Um, Small, close family. Have an older brother, and Newport News, man. That's kind of where I learned to do what I do.
perfect. And that
Yeah.
type of that process
Awesome.
that kind of looking at when you were there, was sports something that was important to you at an early age?
Yeah, it was. My dad, he played sports growing up, and obviously, having an older brother, he played sports. He played basketball, football, and baseball. He's 7.5 years older than me. So, he was like my first hero. Everything that he did, I wanted to do. So obviously, following his footsteps, I started playing baseball, football, and basketball. So sports was real it was a real thing in our household.
Very, very good. Okay. All right. So now, Dr. Hall, next question for you.
Wow. Yeah. So that's incredible. And you said your dad was in the military, and I don't know if that had any influence on you so far as athletics and sports and things. But and so it sounds like were there other aspirations, or did you always want to play football?
No, football wasn't something growing up where I say I'm gonna go play in the NFL. Actually growing up, basketball was my first love, and really that was kind of like my aspiration. If you would have asked me then, I was gonna go to North Carolina. I was gonna play basketball, and I was gonna go to the NBA. But as time went on, um, I'm 5'11" on a good day, and it's not too many 5'11s that 5'11" basketball players that often go and make it to the NBA. So again, I go to college, and my major was criminal justice. So if the thing did not work, definitely was going to try to go the lawyer route. I love going back and forth. I love debating. I love everything about the law, learning the law. But what happened that I was able to make a career out of football.
And that's interesting. You talk about making the career out of football in something. When did you kind of finally figure out for yourself that you could be a professional athlete and play in the NFL? What age were
I
you?
was I would say it was really my sophomore year in college. Obviously, growing up playing sports all the way through high school, receiving a scholarship, um, to go to Howard University and play. Really, at that time, it was just play well enough to gain a scholarship, so my parents won't have to pay for me to go to school. So that's what my mentality was, going to Howard University. But after my sophomore year, I found it was a real shot for me to be able to go to the next level.
And for your size, Antoine, that again 5'11", you said. So so were you undersized for your position?
I was like 5'11", 200. So it just depends on what you were looking for, what that particular team or staff was looking for. 5'11", 200. Typically now, in the game of football, my position, that's kind of the typical size. But when I was coming in, they was looking for more of the bigger safety. So, you had guys 5'11", 220 some pounds. So at the time, I would say I was small for the position.
Interesting. Okay, Dr. Hall, next question.
Wow, so incredible. Wow, very, very incredible. Wow. Well, you know what, Antoine? I mean, I think you may have read my mind, but really, you're just telling your life story. And so, Howard University. Okay, and so, it's a school. Actually, back in 1989, I was accepted to their medical school, but
Okay.
Howard University, I think they call that the capstone. I believe so.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Tell us about that, your experience at Howard, and tell us about what your feeling is right now in this political environment, since now we have what? A vice president from Howard University. So tell us about that.
Yeah, Howard University, I tell people all the time, it probably was the best 4 years of my life up to this point. Just learning about myself, learning about my culture, learning about the history of um, you know, uh black and brown people coming into the United States. So that was a real um time where it was a lot of growth within myself. Taught
Right.
me a lot. And obviously, like you say, with the vice president, her being an alumnus from Howard University, it just goes to show, because one of the knocks that HBCUs get that, it doesn't prepare you for the real world. But to be able to see Kamala Harris to be the vice president, it just goes to show that, you can go anywhere, you can be able to do anything that you set your mind to do.
And so it
Wow.
seems like the 4 years was an amazing experience, and especially just dealing with the academic end of the situation with athletics. How did you balance those two?
Man, it was time consuming, but the good thing about it is that your time is so structured. You go to class, you go to practice, you go to study hall. So with the study hall, going to class, making sure you had to have a certain GPA to continue to play. That was the first thing on my mind. Just making sure that my academics were to par, so I could do what I had to do when I was at Howard.
Yeah, and that's huge because you have to be able to do that, and it was a challenge, but you overcame that. And I'm sure you learn, Antoine, in a lot of ways that is a way helps you through every day. Is what you learned in college to be able to balance that, and then balance when the NFL and family life, and then balancing life after as well.
No, for sure. Like you say, I think a lot of times sports, things that you learn in sports, you can carry over into everyday life. So, like you said, like me being athlete in college as well, having to manage your time, knowing that you got to go to class, you got to do well in the classroom, you got to do well on the field. Those things you can carry over into life as far as being a husband, being a father, just making sure everything is falling in line. So definitely something that I can carry over into my retired career as well.
It seems like it for sure. All right, Doctor. Next question.
Wow, that's that's just incredible. So, um, just a phenomenal, phenomenal career with Super Bowl champion, three-time Pro Bowler, and was also, you're inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame as well. Pro Player of the Year there. Looks like back in 2017. Now, tell us what it was like playing in the NFL.
Man, it's one of them childhood dreams. Like I said, even before, it wasn't a dream of mine to play in the NFL. But when it did happen, all the hard work pays off. It's a dream come true because you're playing a child's game, something that I've been playing since I was 8 years old. So Being able to play in NFL is definitely a privilege. To do that, be able to put on a show for the fans, and also it gives you an opportunity, what it affords you an opportunity to have this platform that you can use for some spectacular things. So I had a fun time doing it, great time, and I enjoyed it.
And that's what you kind of mentioned. We'll go to life after football in a second. But for the years you played, you won the Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Is that correct, Antoine?
Yes, sir.
And did you play how many years? What other NFL teams did you play for?
So I played 8 years with the Indianapolis Colts. I played 3 years with the San Francisco 49ers, two with the Arizona Cardinals, and one with the New York Giants.
Okay, so you're a Colt through and through, right? Because you played the most years of the Colts.
Yeah, I'm a Colts.
Oh yeah, it's definitely I understand that for sure. And it's like, what an environment that's got to be at the Dome, right? To play in that environment, right, Antoine?
No, for sure, man. The environment was everything you can kind of imagine, playing in front of those wonderful fans.
Absolutely. Okay, so it's Colt through and through. We'll all know that. All right, Dr. Hall, next question.
Awesome. Sure, well, no problem. Well, Antoine, tell us about your interaction with a foundation and why you started a foundation.
So yeah, we I started my foundation in 2010. It started off as a Safe Coverage Foundation, but we just recently renamed it the Bethea Family Foundation, and it was just some again, given the platform that I had, it was just something that I kind of just wanted to pay it forward and give back to the community. So that's what we do. Our mission for our foundation is really focusing on giving back to the inner city youth to help them continue education, a 2 year college, 4 year college. But it necessarily doesn't have to just stick to college. It could be learning a trade or whatever the case may be. So definitely just giving back to the community, doing whatever we can to help those that are in need.
And that, what made you,
Great.
and saying you talked about the foundation, were you always that kind of philanthropic kind of guy, even during your career in the NFL as well?
Yeah, so throughout my career, wherever I was playing, that was one thing that I always focused on. Like whether it was in Indy, San Fran, Arizona, I was always giving back, always trying to help the people in the community. So that's always been close to my heart. Again, like I said, if I was ever afforded that opportunity to do so, I would do it, and I just stick to that.
What kinds of fundraisers are you doing, especially with COVID, uh, regarding your foundation?
So we raised close to $70,000 here in Newport News where I grew up. It was a rent relief program, just to help families that was going through hard times during COVID-19, from families that might have lost jobs, that was behind on rent. So we just help with that, help families with that, pay their bills, pay their rent, keep a roof over their head, keep food on the table.
That's tremendous. And so, would you say the theme of your foundation is to help the entire family? What would you kind of say that based on the theme of it? Mhm.
I would say help the household. Help the household. That's the biggest thing, help the household. So obviously my foundation, like I said before, we're focusing on the youth, but in times of need as of right now, it's really about helping the household.
And your push is hopefully the programs later, right? Once
For
COVID lifts, to get back into the kids again, right? When everything kind of gets back to normal with the vaccine and everything. Is that your hope?
Yeah, for sure.